Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com, and today I am taking a look at the new Thompson Chain Reference Bible from Zondervan in KJV in the Premier Collection. Now, just like last time around when I did the NIV Thompson, I am going to break this up into multiple videos because there are a lot of things to cover. So let's go ahead and get started. This comes with a thick box, very thick box. There are the features, if you want to take a look at that. 100,000 chain references, 36 GSM European Bible paper, and a goatskin cover. This is a 9.5 point font in the KJV Comfort Print. So we'll take a look at all the features, and we'll take a look at what makes this one a premium Bible. So first we have a goatskin cover, and this is a premium feeling leather. Leather lined. It's a good thick leather. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spine hubs with the text, the title printed horizontally, and then King James Version and Zondervan printed vertically. Smythe sewn, 3 ribbons, 3/8 inch ribbons, black, red, and gold. Overcast stitching. There's the overcast line right there, all the way down. Edge lined with a gilt line around the inside perimeter. Perimeter stitched all the way around. The grain looks and feels good. It's not smooth. That's a raised grain. A little bit floppy, but does anything you want to do with it. That's a very floppy cover. There's a look at our 36 GSM paper. Just like all of the Premier Collection, and just like all the other Thompsons from Zondervan that are done in the Comfort Print, this is printed in China, designed by 2K Denmark. I've been using this one for a month or so, and just for reference, I did do some consulting with this Bible, but there are a couple of things that I will point out. That doesn't affect my likes and dislikes. That doesn't affect my honesty. I'm 100% honest with what I like and don't like. And there are a couple of things I don't like about this, and I'll explain that as I go. 36 GSM paper is a little bit rough, which I like. Highly opaque. No glare under direct light. Easy to turn pages. Easy to grab and turn. I like to grab with my fingers and separate them with one hand. No issues at all. So at the beginning of each book, we have the book introduction. This used to be the book analysis that was in the back of the Thompson. That's now been moved to the front, and they've added a few things. They've added the major chains. That's added by Zondervan. And we have the author, date written, purpose, to whom it was written, main theme, keyword, key verse, synopsis, prominent people, the lesson of the ages, major chains in Genesis, and as you can see already, we have red highlights all throughout this Bible. All the way through. And then it looks just like the Thompson. But a couple of things are added. This one includes section headings in red. Now this is a black letter edition, but it still has the red highlights. Topic numbers are in red. So we have a verse by verse double column setting with about 6 to 7 words per line on average. 9.5 point font is very large. Lots of space between the lines, easy to see. And the text is line matched so that the lines on both sides of the page are printed in the same location on both sides. And that improves readability. The paper is opaque enough that it doesn't make the text gray behind it where there's text. The line matching is lined up really well. References are in the outer margins next to the verses they correspond to. This one does not include footnotes, the translator's footnotes. It does not include the notes from the Revised Version, so those have been removed. It does not include a glossary in the back. That's one thing that I would like to see added back in. Another possibility would be to add the glossary to the margins like Thomas Nelson does. And I think that's something that Thomas Nelson does really well. And for me, makes the Thomas Nelson KJVs really high on my list because of that. I'd like to see that added to this. Or at the very least, I'd like to see the glossary added to the back. I feel like it's needed for the King James. It does not include the translators to the reader or the epistle dedicatory. But it does include a good introduction to the Bible to know how to use it. Talks about the revision process, what all was revised. And we'll go through a little bit of that ourselves. All right, so now we have no line dividing the text. Red is used for paragraph markers, and there are lots of paragraphs all throughout. It does include italics for supplied words. It does not include self-pronouncing text, so it's a very clean text. It does include parallel passages in the margins. Anytime that we have the beginning of a chain, it starts with an arrow, and then the end of a chain has a square to show that it's the end. And we've got the topic name first, then the topic number, and then the reference for the next verse in the chain. There's our red art gilt, red under gold. So if you're used to the Thompson and you know how it works, it's exactly the same. No differences in the Thompson system, except for this has been updated. So where before there would be things mentioned in the margin that's not in the back, or there'd be things mentioned in the back that's not in the margins, now everything that's in the margin is in the back, and everything that's in the back is in the margins. So it's all been completed. Now where this is different from the NIV is that this uses words from the KJV. So we might find a different word for some of these topics from one translation to the other. The topics are the same. Just the name of the topic is different. Across the top, we've got the book name and chapter and verse number in the outer margin, and then page number in the center. And then in the inner margin, we've got a page summary. The book introductions work really well. I like the way those were made. And some of the introductions have charts and maps of some sort. Not all, not many do, but there are a few that do. And there's enough space in here so that you can use some of this margin for notes if you wanted. Just like all Thompsons, this does not include commentary on the text. Some information between the testaments. And this is the standard design for the new tables. Gray, kind of a medium and a light gray, alternating colors, striped, with red, dark red for the titles or backgrounds. There's the New Testament. And here we're starting to see some of these with a square showing that's the end of the chain. There's a parallel passage. This text is clean. Clean, dark, and easy to read and preach from. I've preached from this several times, and I enjoy it. It's excellent for preaching, excellent for study. This print is very large, very easy to read. The paper is very opaque. So there's one of the book introductions with a chart. Lots of red highlights all through. Comprehensive Bible helps, and they include the Bible helps, principles of Bible study and methods of study, some short articles there. Alphabetical index, numerical index of topics, condensed outline, Bible character studies, Bible harmonies and illustrated studies, Hebrew time, season, and festivals. That's a short table. KJV Concordance, and then the map index with color maps. So here are the principles of Bible study, and this was in the original. And then best methods of study. These were in the original. And then alphabetical index of topics. This just works like any concordance where you're looking up a word alphabetically. But unlike a concordance, the numbers that it gives you are the numerical index numbers. So Aaron is numerical index number 1. So this concludes all the topics in the Thompson. So if you want to look up something, you look it up alphabetically, and then you turn to that number in the numerical index. They work together. That's the easiest way to find anything in the Thompson. And they do include subtopics like this one, like these. There's some subtopics. And then here's the numerical index. And these are listed by number. For the most part, many of them are under alphabetical listing, but not quite. There will be several that are combined together, and there'll be several that are subtopics of another topic. So if you're looking up something, it's best to look it up in the alphabetical index and then turn to the numerical index under that number. And the way this works is it gives you the numerical number, topic number. It gives you the topic name, and then several references on that topic. Now, and some of them will also give you a definition, a short description or definition. And then you're going to see some black references and some red references. The red references are found in the margins. The black references are also listed, but they're not the prominent references, so they're not printed. Some verses are printed in full. We don't see them here, but we will see them, for example, this one. So this gives you the topic number, the topic name, the description. If it has a little M and then says something here, it shows you what it's called in the margin. And then it gives you the references with the prominent in red, and then the prominent are printed in full. So you can read them from here, or you can turn to the margins and then trace it through the scriptures. The advantage in turning to the margins is that you also get to read it in context. And then at the end of the list, many of them do have other topics that are similar for you to look for. So the numerical index is huge. And that's one of the real advantages of this Bible. And just like the NIV, the archaeological supplement has been removed. That was removed because, number one, it was out of date. And number two, it was going to be time-consuming and expensive to update. And number three, according to polls that Zondervan did, the archaeological supplement was the least used tool. So they just did not include it. And by removing it, they were able to give us a larger font. And I'll be honest, I'll take the larger font. I do like that large print. They did a really good job with that print. So that numerical index is huge. Now we have our condensed outline of the Bible. Now all this information in the back was in the original, but it's been reformatted and updated with new text, with new maps, new illustrations. So there's the condensed outline, and it's just a short outline that tells you the main breakdown, that tells you the main genre, and then the books in that genre, and then the short description. Periods of biblical history, nice table there. Bible character studies, some new illustrations, and here's what the new maps look like. New illustration. Some of the old, all the old charts and maps and things have been replaced. Some of the old things have been removed, like the portraits of Christ, where we had all those small thumbnail size paintings of Jesus. They're all gone. Prominent characters classified. Outline history of the apostles. Messianic prophecies and their fulfillment arranged chronologically. I've actually preached from this chart several times. Bible harmonies and illustrated studies. And there's some more of the maps. The information is the same, but it's been updated in the way that it's presented. A lot easier to read and see. And some of them have the annotations taken off of the maps. You'll see those in a minute. Overview of Moses' life. Lots of these maps. Crinkle my page. And there's some of the way the maps are done, where the information is removed from the map and placed down below. Overview of Jesus' life. Harmony of the Gospels. Excellent table. That's a very good table for study. Overview of Jesus' life, the life of Christ, and here's a timeline. More maps. Jesus and his hours upon the cross. Jesus' post-resurrection appearances. Overview of Paul's life. And there's all the journeys of Paul. Outline history of the early church. It's a good table there. Gives you the 3 periods. Shows the dates. References. The events. Excellent table for study. Distance in miles between Old Testament cities. Topical Treasury. This is one of my favorite tools. It lists lots of helps for Christian workers. And what it does is it gives you the topic and then suggested topics within that topic. Now what these do, all they do is give you the topic number so that you find those in the numerical index. But there are lots of suggested topics for study. And they're good for group study. They're good for teaching. They're good for preaching. Youth meetings, men's meetings, women's and children's meetings, evangelistic meetings. Memory verses, aids to memorization. Places of religious worship and religious leaders. Hebrew times, seasons, and festivals. And then KJV Concordance. It's a pretty decent concordance. It's got quite a bit in there. It does not have the biographical information that you find in the NIV, and it also does not have proper names. It does have Jesus, so it's got a few proper names, but most of the most are not in there. Here's how many we have for God, and then Godhead, godliness, godly. Give an idea of what we have there. Next is a color map index, and it lists them according to division. 6 different divisions that show archaeological sites, biblical names of cities, towns, and villages, cultural features, points of interest, land features, and water features. So you can turn to the division, and then within that division, they're alphabetical. And then that gives you the map number and the grid location on that map. It's easy to use. Then 13 pages for notes, and this is the same Bible paper, the 36 GSM, premium European paper. Pretty good bit of paper there for notes. And then the Zondervan maps. These are the full color maps printed on the semi-gloss paper. See, they include elevation, distance, routes, names of cities, a few annotations, so let's take a look at the size and weight. Now it does have a little bit of a yap, so I'm going to bend that over just a little bit. So this will be an approximate size, and the reason I give you approximate size of the overall size rather than the trim size, like this is 6.5 by, well, let's see, 6.5 by 9 and a little over a quarter. But the reason I give you the cover size is because that's the size you need if you want to put it in a case. So going all the way out here to the spine hub, we have about 7 by 9.5. It's in that range there. And then almost 2 inches. 1 7/8. Now let's weigh it. 3 pounds, almost 13 ounces. 3 pounds, 12.8. So this is a large Bible. And it's made well. It's easy to read. Pages are easy to turn. The paper is extremely opaque. The only reason I would not get the Premier Collection is if I didn't want one so heavy. So if you're carrying it around, this might not be the one you want. We'll compare it to the regular size when I do get that one in the next video. But I do like this Premier Collection. This is, in my opinion, the best quality KJV Thompson that you can get. I do wish they had included the glossary. I would have liked to have seen the translation footnotes. The notes from the revised version, honestly didn't use them that much, so I don't really miss that. But I do like the idea of having a glossary and having the translation footnotes. But now I know why they did what they did, because they needed more space in order to increase the size of this font. While this is a 9.5, this is more like a 6. I can measure that real quick. Yeah, that comes in closer to a 6. And unlike the NIV, and here's the part that I consulted with, unlike the NIV, rather than having a sans serif font for the references, this one has the serif font. And I do like the look of this. The serif does take more space, but it does look more traditional to me. I just like the look of that. So that's my quick look at the new Thompson Chain Reference in the Premier collection from Zondervan. I think they've done a great job with this. If I could change one thing, I'd add the glossary back. That's really the main thing for me. If I can do another, I would add the translation footnotes. That's not important to a lot of people, so it's not something that I would say do or do not get it based on that, because there are other tools that you can use for all that. But for a Thompson, that's a fine Bible. I like that a lot. So I will place links in the notes so that you can make a purchase if you're interested. Also a link to the written review at BibleBuyingGuide.com with more information, more detail. And also, Zondervan did supply this in exchange for an honest review. My honest review is this is my favorite version without seeing the others yet. I know they're going to be lighter. The others are going to be lighter, and I'll probably use the others because of that. But if you're looking for a high quality KJV Thompson, this is my favorite version of it. Black letter edition, 36 GSM European paper, goatskin. It looks and feels great. Overcast stitching in the front. All the tools are here. The difference in the tools between this and the NIV is that the words are KJV words rather than NIV words. So it's all the tools have been changed to match the KJV. So that is my look at the KJV Premier Collection. Stay tuned for the other editions where we're going to compare the sizes and we're going to compare the covers, and we'll review them all. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.